been doing music for a long time, and the photography kind of came after I started dating someone, and I kind of just picked up on it. But the pictures I take, I don't really know how to describe it. It's just kind of whatever interests me. So like if I'm out and it's always so weird to talk about this stuff because it's like an instinct.
Yeah.
So like it's just whatever I see that makes me feel something is just kind of what I do.
Yeah, I think kind of the cool thing that I noticed about your work is it's very like well-rounded in my opinion. I think like I don't just look at it and say, okay, well, he shoots mainly this or he shoots mainly that. It's kind of like you have street, you have like some cool slowed down like nighttime work, the suburbia type stuff that you do, black and white, color. I think that's kind of like one of the reasons that like your work sticks out in my opinion is just because like it's super well-rounded, you know?
I'm actually really flattered by that, and that was always a thing for me too. Is like I like to keep my stuff varied. Like I don't want to be pigeonholed to just someone that does night photography, someone that just does street photography, black and white, etc. I like it all. Mm-hmm. So it really is important to keep it varied.
Yeah, of course, and especially like in a day today where, I mean, it's super like accessible almost that we have the opportunity that we can vary our work, you know, like some of the stuff that I do when I'm shooting digitally, I would never do while shooting like on film, you know? So it's kind of, we definitely have that advantage today. In your opinion, what kind of sets your work apart from other people's?
Well, first off, I don't even know what to say. Talking about my smile, I'm very flattered by that. I do really like pastels, like just kind of like as an aesthetic, and like just also too, I like a washed out looking pastel. I guess without even thinking about it, I kind of bring that out in the photos. I guess comparing to other people's work, like like if you see something, like I just take what I find interesting, and I think that kind of goes into like how people's brains go about things. So like, for instance, like if I see somebody that's like an amputee, it's interesting to me.
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna want to take a picture of that. And as others would think, okay, like that wouldn't be interesting to somebody. So I don't know if that's somewhat of an insight into how I kind of go about things, but it's just it literally is whatever I think is interesting. I also think not pigeonholing myself into a night photographer or everything else, everything in between. I just like to have as much stuff as I can. Another thing too, I don't look for stuff. So like if I'm out, whatever I see is what I see. Like it's very rare that I'll actually go out with the intention of taking photographs.
Yeah, I mean, Joel Meyerowitz kind of said kind of the same thing, is like when he goes out, he doesn't look for specific things to take photos of. Like he has nothing preset in his head that he's going to take a specific photo of this. And I think it's kind of an interesting thing because it's like, when you think about it, if you're going out with that mindset of, oh, I'm just going to shoot this, or I already know that I'm going to shoot this, it's kind of like, well, maybe you're going to be missing kind of everything else that's around you, you know? You kind of just like tunnel visioned on like that one thing.
And it's fulfilling too, because like if you go out and you just happen to come across like a scene to you that's moving, like it's so fulfilling. Like it's like, all right, like this was so worth like everything.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as like gear and cameras, I know definitely today a lot of people get kind of like hyped up on the gear. Like you hop on YouTube and there's all these YouTubers talking about you need to get this and this, but kind of like what's your opinion on gear, film stocks? Like what are you shooting with?
So you're gonna laugh at this. I don't think necessarily in a bad way, but every time I tell people this, they don't believe me.
Yeah.
But all of my photos are taken on an iPhone.
No way.
I swear.
Dude, that is crazy. I would never have guessed that in a million years.
I get people messaging me, like a couple of good friends on Instagram will say to me like, oh, you need to start shooting film. And I'm so flattered by that. Like, they're like, oh, like you really need to be in the film community. And again, I get incredibly flattered by hearing that, but it's just kind of like, to me, good photo is a good photo. It doesn't matter what it's taken on.
Exactly.
You can't say something's not good because it's not shot on film, or you can't say music's not good because it's not recorded, completely analog.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
I very much agree with that.
But I mean, I will say this: I actually did buy myself a point and shoot.
Nice.
I'm gonna start going out with it.
Perfect.
I bought a Olympus stylus Epic,
Very
and
cool.
so But as far as like the gear stuff goes, I remember like when I first got into photography, which was in 2015. So I've only been taking photos for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I had dated somebody that was a really good photographer, and she was like, the whole mindset was like, oh, I need to get a camera. I'm like, I need to get this, and she was like, you don't need any of that. She's like, you can just literally use your phone, and I never even thought of that to begin with, and that's just kind of how it all just kind of like, rolled out. I was just using my phone. I edit with the Visco app, and I put a lot of time into the edits.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it just goes to show kind of like that thing is you don't need the best gear, you don't need to be shooting on the best film, or you don't have to be shooting medium format to take like amazing photos. And I think it's interesting how you were talking about like the digital film kind of debate thing that I brought up in my last video. Kind of like what you were saying is like just because you shoot it on film does not mean it's a good photo. I've taken a lot of crap photos on film. And just because you shoot it on digital doesn't mean it's like a bad photo, or it's going to be an over-processed photo. I've taken a lot of good stuff on my digital camera that I enjoy, But I think it's such a big debate right now,
It is, and it's. I want to say almost all my friends on Instagram are probably all film photographers. Like I said, I always get people will ask me like, oh, well, what do you shoot on? And I just tell them an iPhone X, and they're just like, oh wow. But I mean, again, it's just all how this is going, your head, like, and I think that's kind of the, I think that's something that people need to look to, like, yeah, and listen, I respect the hell out of people developing their own film.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's money, I know it's hard work, like, I get it, and you'll never get an argument from me that shooting film is probably it's definitely more of a process and more of a, you got to make your film last, like, you have to choose what, there's definitely a luxury of taking it on a digital where you don't have to worry about running out of film.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate both mediums. Like, again, I look at photography as just that. It's photography. So if it's a good picture, I don't even dare, and I feel like I don't mean this to come off like a dick, but to me, it doesn't matter, like, what it's shot on. Like, I don't care if it's shot on film. Like, if it's good, it's good.
Music plays like a pretty big role in your life, it seems like. Does that kind of have like a direct influence on your photography, or just kind of like your lifestyle as a whole? Because I know, like, for myself, I'm also a musician. I've played in bands like growing up and stuff, and just kind of like that lifestyle that I kind of fell into with kind of like the punk music and all like the post-hardcore kind of music that I was listening to and playing. It kind of seems to almost show up in my work in a way, just in kind of the ways that I'm feeling and kind of like how that music makes me feel and kind of like my lifestyle. So is that kind of something similar that shows up for you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say that the music and the photography have become synonymous with each other. Like, a lot of the times, and I notice other guys and girls do this too, is, like, when I post a picture, like, and I put it on my story, I'll put music to it because, like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's the feeling that picture is giving me. So I try to match the vibes of it, Like, I can write music off of seeing a picture. So do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I can, it's more of like a mood or a vibe that I can work off of visually and connect it to creating something sonically.
It's kind of like a big cycle almost, it seems like. Kind of one influences the other and you can work off of that. No, that's super interesting. Kind of like when I'm editing my photos, I'm always playing music in the background, like when I'm editing photos, right? And for specific type of photos, I play specific type of music so it can kind of help me like push along that feeling that I'm trying to get out in the edit. But I know you have a zine coming up also. Satan also has a sister, so why don't you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I have two zines in the works. So Satan Also Has a Sister is an ambitious one, and it's definitely not going to be done till the end of the year. So the second zine that I'm doing is kind of an appetizer to give to people before that zine comes out, and that's a black and white zine called "Heard About You Last Night," which is a Mogwai song. So it's it's definitely the kind of off kilter stuff that I take a lot. But yeah, the Satan Also Has a Sister. So last summer I took an Amtrak train from Penn Station to Kansas City, Missouri to stay with one of my friends.
Okay.
I definitely have to say, if you want to see America, taking a train is probably the best way to do it. But like taking the train was just such a surreal. I've never been on an Amtrak, so it was such a surreal experience. Yeah, so the whole zine is basically just my trip from New York to the Midwest, and most of it is from Kansas City, Missouri. A lot of it is just there's definitely like candid portraits in there. There's definitely car photos in there. There's definitely night photography in there. It's all mixed up. Cool. It's kind of like a Midwestern gloom, if that makes any sense. Yeah. But yeah, it's something that I've been really looking forward to get out there, because it's like, in my opinion, it's like some of my favorite stuff I've done.
Big shout out to David for taking time out of his day to sit down and do this with me. It was super cool and I had an awesome time talking to him. I'll leave a link to David's Instagram in the description below, so you guys should really go check out his work. His zines are coming up and he posts awesome work on his Instagram. You guys gotta go check it out, leave him a follow, give him some love, and really support him. He's a great guy and an awesome photographer. If you guys like this video, please make sure to leave a like, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of these videos. Thank you very much for your guys' support, and I'll see you next time.